Take the Leap is the podcast where we get real about the roller coaster that is entrepreneurship and life. Sure, some folks make running a business look like a walk in the park, but let's be honest, it's more like a wild ride through a theme park with a lot of unexpected twists and turns.
Join us, your co-hosts, Ashlan
and Tory,
as we spill the beans on our own real-life experiences and shine a spotlight on some amazing guests. From the highs of success stories to the lows of epic failures. And hey, we'll even throw in some cringe-worthy, laugh-out-loud, embarrassing moments for good measure.
So buckle up and tune in every Tuesday and Thursday for a dose of raw, unfiltered truth about what it's really like to chase your dreams and build a business.
Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just dipping your toes into the startup world, we've got something for everyone. Even if it's just to make you think, wow, I'm glad I didn't do what they did.
Welcome back to the Take the Leap podcast. I'm Victoria, or Tory, and
I'm Ashlan, and I'm super excited that we're back again to have funny little conversations with each other about business ownership. Tory, I think this was your topic idea. You want to kick us off with the subject today?
Yes, today's subject is going to be great. We are talking about the best/worst things about owning your own business. And I have a few thoughts here. I don't know about you.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, they're the things that keep me up at night and the things that, I will say that this is one of the reasons we're making Take the Leap, to just show people that these are normal. These are normal everything day things that we all worry about. What is it going to be like when you start your own business? So yeah, do you want to kick us off with, I think our same thing is the best. Our first thing that came to our minds for the best and the worst was the same thing. So yeah.
It's true. You can make your own schedule. This is both the absolute best and the absolute worst things. And the thing that keeps popping into my head is that meme going on all the social platforms right now, where it says, I left my 9-to-5 corporate job so that I can make my own schedule, and now I work 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And I relate to that so much, and I know you do too.
Yes.
Because it's so true. It's the best possible thing. I have a son at home. He is a toddler now. And though I do have a little bit of support throughout the week, I end up watching him most mornings. And so I get to make my own schedule around his needs and his schedule and when my husband gets off of work. Right. Which is great. And during the day, I can also go and get some errands done. And if I want to start dinner, I can, it's really, really helpful. But then the flip side of that is that I am always thinking about my business, always. And so in the middle of the day, when I'm at the park with my son, I'm like, oh, I forgot to email somebody or, whatever. I'm pulling out my phone and, I'm thinking of a million things to add. I have a running notepad to-do list.
Yes.
Phone.
The endless.
Yeah.
The endless to-do list. Yeah.
And I'm just constantly there. And I know you can relate.
Oh, totally. I mean, my husband, I'll get off of work from here, sitting in my office, and then he'll ask me, so what are you working on next? And I'll be like, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. There, we can set up things, or there will be times where I'm like, you know what? I need a mental break to just walk away from my computer, refresh. We'll go walk the dog, or I'll be like, hey, let's go to Costco. Like that's, let's mentally relax and go to Costco, go do some shopping. My secret is that I like to go at, 2:00 in the afternoon or sometimes earlier, because depending on when kids get out of school, that might not be the best time. But yeah, just randomly in the middle of the day going grocery shopping so that you're hitting it when it's less crowded and less busy. But yeah, this it is the best and the worst thing. But I mean, it is nice that we are working on our own businesses, working on our own selves, really. And that even though we do get to set that schedule, we get to choose our own direction, choose our own adventure, and we enjoy it. Right? It's better than working like 80 hours for somebody who you're like, oh my gosh, I get no praise. They're yelling at me about this one thing that they decided, that was super important last minute, end of the day, oh, I used to hate getting those like 4:45 in the afternoon emails of like,
Yeah.
hey, can you meet with me for a second? Or hey, and I'll be like, did you lose your watch? Did you lose your clock? You know that I'm like literally mentally checking out from the day as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a tomorrow problem, not a today
Yeah.
problem.
Oh, do you ever do that?
I
You're like, this is a today Ashlan thing, or this is a tomorrow Ashlan
Yeah,
thing.
this is a
Today
tomorrow
Tory.
Tory
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah.
My husband and I do that all the time with each other when it comes to chores or, whatever. We're like, "That's a tomorrow Tory problem." Actually, we mostly do it when I eat dairy, and I'm not supposed to because
Oh.
I'm lactose intolerant. He goes, "Is
Mhm.
this gonna be a tomorrow Tory's problem?" I'm like, "Yeah, today Tory is happy.
Oh yeah.
Tomorrow
Cheese.
Tory, she
100%.
can deal with
Yeah.
this."
I know. I have the same thing, and I feel like my sinus is getting stuffy, but I'm just like, yes, of course, put
Extra cheese.
extra cheese, put butter in that thing. It just makes it taste better.
Fine.
We'll
Okay,
suffer
this is a
later.
really random side note, but did you know I found this out on the TikTok. Did you
On the
know
TikTok.
the TikTok that you can go to Olive Garden and buy the like cheese shredder
I
things that they
have
have,
seen
like the
that. Yeah, I've seen
I want to do
that
that
they
so
sell
bad.
that. I also love that video where it's the guy who like just lets them keep putting it and just like does it like to just see, and they will do it. And I feel like
Yeah.
probably every terrible teenager is testing that
Oh,
theory.
absolutely.
Oh, good. With a parent who's like, no, we're not going to be those people. Oh,
Absolutely. That's
okay.
awesome.
Well, what's your second?
Well,
What's your second one?
yes, a great question. This is very much related. You make your own deadlines. That is the best and worst thing. So, I guess, it depends on my day, but I like to set myself up for really high standards on some
Mhm.
weeks. And I'm like, yes, I can do that. I can take this on. I can do this, whatever. Give me more work. I can do it. And then I realize very quickly that I overbooked myself. And so then I'm struggling and to meet the deadlines that I set for myself, right?
Mhm.
Like I set
Mhm.
myself up for success, but I also set myself up for
For
failure
failure.
sometimes. And so I've learned over the years to over, not over promise, under
Under
promise and
promise and
over
over
deliver.
deliver. Yep.
Yes,
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
learned that that works really well. And the other um, side note to that is I tend to procrastinate at times when I'm just not
In the
feeling the
mode.
vibe or
Mhm.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And so that's also kind of the crappy part about it is like, "Oh, I set this deadline for next week, so I don't need to
Yeah.
do it
Yeah.
until next week," And then all of a sudden, it becomes urgent. And so the best and worst part is, there's nobody over me
Mhm.
getting mad at me or breathing down my neck. It's myself that's
Yeah.
breathing down my own neck. And sometimes myself is worse than having a boss breathing down my
Yeah.
neck, and sometimes I'm kinder to myself. So, it just kind of depends on the day.
Yeah, you gotta give yourself some grace. It's interesting,
Yeah.
you say that it's only you. I think that is my second, worst thing is until you hire people, it is only you. And so,
Mm.
I never thought that I'd have to learn how to be an accountant and an operations manager and a salesperson all in my own business. And, that's why we're starting Take the Leap as a course for business owners to learn the ropes, get to know what we did much more quickly and set yourself up for success. And here, are real stories. I have realized over the last few years of doing this that I am an achiever, quite an overachiever. And so I set myself to super high standards. But most people, they don't expect things the next day when you're a consultant or
Right.
a contractor for them. You get to set those deadlines. You get to tell them, hey, this is what we have capacity for, or hey, you've reserved a certain amount of time or a certain amount of deliverable. Like, I have to give that space over to other clients right now. Or if you have an emergency fire thing that wasn't brought up in our scope, like, I can, if we have space available, we can do it. But if not, calling me at, well, I have very kind clients. They do not ring the alarm, over the weekend or in other times. But you can teach your clients to be that way, to know what's responsive and to know to bring you things early. With many of them, they're just like built up enough trust where they're like, I'm thinking about doing this thing. Like, I have one client right now who was kind of deciding whether or not they wanted to do an event, and it's not till next July. So I'm like, this is really great. We have lots of runway. Let's start talking about the vision now of what that looks like, so that we're prepared, so that we can actually get ready for July, in May or June, and just be ready to go and show up there, as opposed to waiting up to the last minute. So there is also that discipline that comes from setting deadlines and things, and knowing that, I always say there's the real deadline, like the hard deadline, and then there's like that soft one a little bit before,
Right.
that I have set for myself. So it's nice to have that as well.
Absolutely. And I would also just kind of add to that by saying, this wasn't necessarily on my list, but it kind of works.
Dovetails. Yeah.
You get to pick the people you work with.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned from the last few years of being in business for myself that I was picking for a while the people who were just like the people I was working with before.
Mm-hmm.
They would have tight turnaround deadlines. They wouldn't tell me about it until, they needed it in like an hour. I would have clients that would blow up my phone all day long, like they were my boss, and they would demand things and ask for things really quickly. They would change the priority list around, just constantly. And I'm no longer working with clients like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to learn. I think I was so used to that before
Mm-hmm.
that it felt normal, it felt comfortable, and then I think I woke up one day and was like, "No, no, no, I did
This
this for
isn't
a
what we did.
reason.
Yeah, this
This
isn't, we
is
didn't
yeah.
do that. Yeah.
No."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that
And
that will
so
eventually be a
yeah,
deeper conversation that we have about how
yeah,
to fire clients. But
right,
that was something that I had to get used to in the beginning of, like, why am I beating myself up for this? They're not, if they don't see the value in the knowledge and the expertise and the resources that I'm giving to them, I usually take a look back at the contract and be like, oh my God, what did we put in there? What did we put in there as far as like dates to exit, this agreement? But being okay with that, because you did not, come into this business to be bossed around and treated poorly. And especially with us
right.
as women, having, I mean, I know you and I definitely have been put on like the party planning committees, or, the admin task committees in
Yep.
offices, that were primarily male
Randomly
dominated.
HR too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All the time. And so, yeah, I think that's like a really important factor, in remembering why you started it, and not letting people, the people that you work for or with or partner with as your clients overthrow and overtake what it is you're trying to build for yourself.
Oh, these are really good ones. Okay, I think you're next.
Okay.
What is one of yours now?
Well, did we say this in the first podcast episode? Maybe we didn't. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. But I
Yeah.
now can work from anywhere. So Tori and I used to both live in Oregon, and now I am in Las Vegas, Nevada. And,
Jealous.
last year, yeah, I know. You'll come visit at some point. It'll be
Yes.
awesome. But yeah, it's been nice to be able to retain clients, retain staff, and be able to set up from anywhere really in the world that has an internet connection or electricity sometimes if you're kind of waiting in between. But yeah, last year, actually, this is around the time I was down here last year for a conference for Vegas, which kind of put the pin in in this place as the map to move. But yeah, I was able to work from here, attend a conference, catch a couple client calls here and there. But it was the end of the year and a little slower at the time. And so yeah, that's been one of the really valuable things is just waking up in a beautiful place or someplace different, being able to log on and log off, and really having folks understand. Last year when I was working for the Big Island of Hawaii, there were a couple times when the internet was not as strong in the Airbnbs as I wanted it to be, but we definitely still had phone service and things that allowed the work to happen from anywhere anywhere in the world. I've mostly stayed in the continental U.S., but maybe testing some waters next year internationally and seeing what that's like. How about you? What's your last one on
That'd be
your
really fun.
list?
All right. The last one on my list is you decide your own income.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a huge one because, and especially for me, like since I've started, I can definitely see the growth that's happened and the different patterns that I went through and everything like that. But I would say every year I've always put this big goal of I want to make this much money. And then I also have to be the one
To
to bring
drive
that
that,
in.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's not like
Yes.
a boss is bringing in part of it, another partner, like I have to actually do all of that work. I have to go out and meet the clients. And so on one hand, it's very motivating to try and reach that goal. And, it kind of helps me with my planning throughout the year of,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I need this number of clients or this many projects or, whatever. And I go after it on my own that way. But then the other part of it is like when I start to fall short of that goal or so like in the beginning, and we've had more in-depth conversations about this, but sometimes I would take on clients because it was income going towards my goal, but it didn't necessarily serve me
Yeah,
or my business. And so
absolutely.
yeah, it's not as black and white, I guess, as I thought it would be making
Mm-hmm.
money. It's been a process. It's been a learning process. It's been up and down and all in between. So it's been fun.
Yeah, yeah, that whole, I mean, there are so many gurus out there that are like, take my system, you can become a seven figure, blah, blah, blah. And, it's still hard work. There is not, there's a process to it. There's a flow to it. You still, like I said in the beginning, you're a salesperson. You still have to sell your business, sell yourself, have that proper messaging, do a good job, right? Because 80% of my business has all been word of mouth and referral. So if I wasn't doing a good job on it, that would be a challenge for me to try to get more in as well. So yeah, those are all really good things that people need to just know about, that it isn't always easy. There are some really positive parts about it. But there are, you have to prepare yourself, shield yourself from the things that could have a negative impact. And I think one of the things I've really enjoyed about us kind of being accountability buddies and having conversations about this is that, facing the realities of entrepreneurship, it's really nice to know that you're not the only one that is, struggling with similar things. And it's really awesome
Absolutely.
that we get to have this platform where we tell people about the realities of entrepreneur life, especially as women who, we're what they say, most businesses don't survive past the 5 year mark. We're still under that, but we're
Yeah.
making headway and still growing every single year.
Yeah, it feels good. And just to kind of spiral off what you said, I'm always really weary of people online who say, quit your job today, you won't regret it. And just take the leap and do it. And like that's exactly what we're promoting is take the leap into your own business. But that journey is going to look so much different for every single person. It's very unique to your situation and what you want to do and where you're at and what you can do at that moment in time. And so I think that that's part of our conversation too, is it's not, we don't follow the typical cookie cutter, I can't think of a better way of saying that, the typical cookie cutter advice from, you know, all the business books that our moms told us to read. Sorry,
Mhm.
mom, if you're listening to this. Uh, it's, we don't fit that mold. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of people feel the same, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm really weary of people who say you have to follow this specific way, because I think it depends on the person and it
Mhm.
depends on who you are and what you're willing to do. So
Yeah. And
anyway,
your
that's
motivation.
my 2 cents.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
your motivation towards it. I mean, you know, this podcast and the course Take the Leap that we are launching is all about building business on your own terms. I mean, you know my story. I did it as a side hustle. I waited until it was big enough. I was working 80-hour weeks to have a full-time job and have this. And my Take the Leap moment was going back to the clients that I had at the time and being like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Like, do you have the net to catch, the funds in the net to catch me so that, I can continue to live, economically the same lifestyle that I am
Yeah.
living now. And luckily every single client was like, that's really great. We're really excited. Yes. Here we'll sign at a higher, point. And I was just kind of constantly looking at new business opportunities, networking, connecting, and making sure that that pipeline would not go dry just in
Yeah.
case anything happened. So yeah. Well, thank
Yeah,
you,
absolutely.
Tori. Great topic. We're excited to continue to bring you more topics that are salient to entrepreneurs, the things that you might be wondering about when it comes to starting your business. Make sure to follow us on social media. We'll have those in the show notes. Future episodes, we would love to source from your questions. So make sure that you are telling us what you wish you knew about, or what are your questions as you think about taking the leap and starting your own business. So, with that, we'll sign off.
Absolutely.
I'm Ashlan, founder and CEO of AshbeanPDX Marketing.
And I'm Tori, founder of Imagine Marketing Strategies.
We invite you to continue to take the
Yeah.
leap with us and our budding podcast. So, thank you, everybody. See you
Thank
later.
you.
Thank you for listening to the Take the Leap podcast. We hope you found useful takeaways you can apply to your entrepreneurial journey. Subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and keep in touch and follow us on Instagram. If you have business questions, shoot us a direct message or leave us a comment. We'll try to cover it in an upcoming episode. And visit our website, taketheleap-today.com, for more resources like our online course that accompanies this podcast.